What's going on, everyone? You are listening to the Antonio Chaudan Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Antonio Chaudan, and we got some predictions to get to. We have the divisional round going on this weekend, and we have, I mean, I think one of the more competitive divisional rounds we've seen in recent time. If you look at, Vegas and stuff like that, where they have these spreads already set out, I definitely know at least of two of the games with 49ers and Packers and Ravens and Texans that there is over a one possession spread for each of those two games, but I don't think they're going to be that widely gapped. So the first game we'll talk about is the first game of divisional round for this upcoming weekend is the Ravens and Texans. Now, something to keep in mind. There is this kind of saying, I guess, or kind of I don't know really how to describe it. It's more so it has to do with kind of having that extra buy, and you may be more so rusty than rested. You know what I mean? And the Ravens have had their guys rested for about 3 weeks now because their starters didn't play the last week of the playoffs because they had already secured the one seed. And then obviously getting that one seed, they had that bye week. Is there something to be said about that? I don't know. Being away off of the field for that period of time when you're like in the nitty gritty, you're in the crux of it. I don't know. Maybe there's some benefits and some disadvantages to it. But look, let's be very clear. The Ravens right now look like the best team in football. The way that they dismantled the Niners in the regular season, I mean, no other team has been able to become at the status of where the Ravens are now. They just haven't. And no other team has been able to play the 49ers the way that the Ravens did. Yeah, the Niners went on like that 3-game losing streak, but they didn't lose like that. They didn't. I mean, it was an ass whooping. And so I look at the other teams in the AFC, Buffalo, Houston, and obviously us, Kansas City. Are those teams comparable to the 49ers? They're all different in various ways, but I mean, I can be transparent here and I can be objective and say that I would pick the 49ers over any three of those teams right now. Obviously, time will tell to see what happens this weekend. But if I'm being 100% honest, I mean, the consensus favorite are the Niners and Ravens to be in the Super Bowl. And, that makes sense. They're two of the top teams in the NFL. They're the most overall well-rounded teams that we have in the league. So, from an offensive standpoint and defensive standpoint. So when you look at all of that and you look at it from that perspective, I mean, it makes sense that these are two teams that are kind of have a straightforward path to the Super Bowl. So that's kind of my perspective on the Ravens in terms of the rust and rested. I think they're just too good for a little bit more rest to not benefit them. Same thing for the 49ers. But on the flip side, Texans are hot. I think the way it's not just the fact that they won. I think because they won in the way that they did, it makes this game more interesting, right? It would be one thing if they won a close game. You win by 31 points against a Browns team, a Browns defense that has been one of the top defenses in the entire league, and you dismantle them. Like it was crazy. So when you look at it like that, and you see how this Ravens team has been able to perform over the regular season, this isn't going to be a cakewalk. Not at all. This is going to be a close game, I think. But look, Lamar probably will win MVP, as he should. He's had a great season, a great regular season. But the knock on him is that he can't win playoff games. He's 1-3 in his playoff career, throwing 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. It's tough because I like Lamar a lot, and the resume he's been able to build up to this point is very good. But he's not going to build more credibility unless he gets a few more playoff wins under his belt. Another crazy stat that I saw too is in the playoffs, he has been sacked a total of 19 times in 4 playoff games. That he's basically getting sacked almost 5 times a game in the playoffs, and that's horrible. Just to kind of compare, throughout this entire season, the entire 2023 regular season, he got sacked 37 times, and that's a span. Well, he didn't play the last game, so that's 16 games. So he basically got sacked basically half that in only a fourth of those amount of games that he played the regular season. 19 sacks in 4 games, in 4 playoff games, 37 sacks in 16 regular season games. I mean, that's crazy. So Lamar is going to need to right a lot of wrongs that have gone on in his playoff career so far. And I think he's going to do that. This is a team that's built to win. And you look at this Texans team, it's a great story. And they're a great team. C.J. Stroud belongs in this league. He's going to be arguably a top 5 quarterback, top 7 quarterback for years to come. That is something he has been able to cement definitively from the jump, and good for him. So that being said, I think the Ravens are the better overall team, and I think they're going to win this game. I think it'll be a decent scoring game. Again, I don't think it's going to be too low scoring. Obviously, the Ravens defense is good. They're actually going to have Marlon Humphreys out for that game, so we'll see what they're able to do. With that absence, Humphreys is a great player, or Humphrey, sorry. And so that's going to be a tough void to fill. But I mean, they got other guys on the defense that know how to play. Arguably one of the best, if not the best, linebackers in the entire game in Roquan Smith. So Texans, great team, great story, but I think the Ravens are ready to go in a deep playoff run. So I'm going to pick the Ravens to win this game here, 27-23. Next up, we have Packers at 49ers. Again, same thing with the Packers. This is a great team. And they've been able to, really go on a run this last half of the season. Unfortunately, the Chiefs got caught up on that. We should have won that game. That's neither here nor there, though. Jordan Love has been playing phenomenal football. He has. And the Packers, and I said this on my last episode, the Packers are in great hands. The fact that they've been able to have this type of quarterback success over the past 30 years, spanning all the way from Brett Favre now to Aaron Rodgers and now Jordan Love. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there are so many organizations that haven't even been able to have one guy like that, let alone 3. So the fact that the Packers have that in Jordan Love, they're very lucky and they're very fortunate. Just like with the Texans, I think they're going to have a lot of future success down the road, starting with their QB. I feel the same with Green Bay. But the 49ers, man, I mean, aside from getting undressed by the Baltimore Ravens, this is a team that genuinely looks unbeatable. Now, with that being said, the Packers are going to put up a fight, no question. This is going to be a game, 100%. But I think the thing is here that the the 49ers have a team that's built for the playoffs. They've been there, They made it all the way to the Super Bowl, lost to the Chiefs in 2020, and then those next two seasons were competitive. Lost obviously to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game last season, but obviously with Brock Purdy getting knocked out early in that game, it wasn't a game for that reason. Brock Purdy is. I hear a lot of opinions about Brock Purdy. About, oh, is he just another game manager? He's got all these weapons around him. All he's got to do is just throw them the ball. And look, it takes a specific individual to be able to work and operate in this Kyle Shanahan offense. It's not easy. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, he was able to get him all the way to the Super Bowl, obviously lose it. But again, I think Brock Purdy is an upgrade from Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's kind of losing that name of Mr. Irrelevant. Like he's becoming that guy now. And the season he's been able to have with the Niners and another, well, it's the first full season that Christian McCaffrey's been able to have in the system. I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders, and that defense is great. Travarius Ward winning All-Pro. I'm happy for him. He used to play for the Chiefs. He won that Super Bowl with us when we beat the Niners. So I'm happy for him and happy with how he's been able to develop even more with the Niners. I think from that standpoint, it's obvious that that the Niners, obvious at least to me, and I think I like to think a lot of other people, that the Niners should win this game. Packers, again, their defense has been able to pick it up over this last half of the season. Same thing with the offense, and this is the youngest team in the NFL as well, or at least the youngest team to make the playoffs. I think I want to say an average of like 26 or 27 years of age through the entire team, which is crazy. I mean, none of these guys have really any playoff experience, so the fact that they're playing like this under Matt LaFleur, who does have playoff experience, obviously, with those runs he made with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they're built for this right now. They are. Unfortunately, they have a fork on the road, and that fork are the San Francisco 49ers. And I think the Niners are going to win this game. I think it'll be a lower scoring game. I don't think it'll be as high scoring as I predicted that Ravens-Texans game. Even though it wasn't that very high scoring to begin with. But I'm going to pick the Niners to win this game here, 24-17. Next up, we have the Bucs at Lions. This game, in my opinion, will be high scoring. Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, man, let's get it. I want Detroit to win this game, and I think Detroit will win this game. From top to bottom, I believe they have the better team. Obviously, starting with Jared Goff. Then you got guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta. I know he was injured. I think he's going to be playing in this game. And then they got their two running backs in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Again, Amon-Ra, I mentioned him already, but he helped me a lot in fantasy this season. I love that kid. He's a baller. He really is. And then obviously on the defensive side of the ball, leading the helm is Aiden Hutchinson, and you got some other guys on that side of the ball as well. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he loves to talk shit. He gets on my damn nerves. When he was with the Eagles, oh my god. But he's balling out with the Lions. Good for them. So you got guys like that too, and obviously with Dan Campbell leading everything. I think that they're just the better team, and that this is, when I say this is their year, I don't mean they're going to go all the way and win the Super Bowl. But in terms of turning a page, going from a sorry ass team that hasn't won anything to now being like, all right, we can go into this season expecting to possibly make some deep playoff runs. I think that is, if you're a Lions fan, you would have never thought you would be uttering any sort of words like that. So the fact that you can say that, um, I dare I say definitively, hell yeah, hell yeah, Detroit. And so, not to take anything away from the Bucks, I mean, uh, beating the Eagles with how that team had been reeling over the past 6 or 7 weeks. I mean, it wasn't a shocker that they won that game. Um, Now, in the fashion in which they did it, it's very concerning. But I think that more so says more about the Eagles than it does the Bucks. Now, again, not to take anything away from the Bucks, but I just genuinely think it was more so because the Eagles just couldn't get their shit together, more so than the Bucks being that good of a team. So, anyways, with that being said, and I'm happy for Baker Mayfield too. I think he's found a home in Tampa, and hopefully the front office feels the same way. I think Detroit's going to win this game. I think it'll definitely be a higher scoring game, but I'm going to pick Detroit to win this game 34-28. And now, last but most certainly not least, I mean, why do you think this was the last game of the weekend? We have the Chiefs at Buffalo. I mean, where do I begin? Um, let's start off with the Bills. Okay. Um, at one point, they were 6-6. They went out, finishing 11-6, and win their division, get the second seed. I mean, it was a crazy run that they did towards the end of the season, and obviously a season saving run, because if they lose even one of those games, they may not even make the playoffs. So kudos to them. Josh Allen is looking like Josh Allen. You know, he's running, he's throwing the rock, throwing bombs, but he's also throwing picks. Everyone was going crazy about how Josh Allen uh, has kind of fixed his turnover woes, um, just based off one playoff game against the Steelers team that, quite frankly, squeaked in. Um, that's kind of how I take that game. It wasn't a game, like I said. I kind of took it like I did with Miami. How, yeah, I expected us to win that game. We were better than that team. Same thing with the Bills to the Steelers. That's kind of how I viewed that game. Um, so losing a lot of guys on defense throughout the season definitely hurt them, including like guys like Matt Milano and guys like that. It's not easy, but I think given the fact that they've been able to, on the offensive side, through a lot of different changes with coordinators and things like that and personnel, getting James Cook on the route on the ground and being able to have that run game complement Josh Allen has been very beneficial. I also think though that Coach McDermott is coaching for a job. I feel like if he loses this game, he will get canned. So that's kind of how I feel. So I feel like with all that, that's kind of what's riding with Buffalo. And on top of that, you're 0-2 against Mahomes in the playoffs. The Chiefs have sent you home two times in the past 3 seasons. Obviously, in that crazy divisional game where you guys lost in overtime in the divisional round, and then a few seasons before that where we knocked you out in the AFC Championship game. So we have your number in the playoffs. So I've said all I said really about the Bills right now. Let's get to the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is 12-3 in the playoffs. Has never lost a divisional round. Has gone to the AFC Championship game each of his 5 starts. In each of his 5 starting seasons. Let me say that. And I think it's going to continue. I don't care if it's in Buffalo. I don't care if it's on the road. Mahomes is built for this. I think a lot of people like to just assume that because we've had the season that we've had up to this point, that translates into the playoffs. I'll say this. I like how we looked against Miami. Drops obviously are still a concern. I understand that. But I think when it comes to a guy like Mahomes, he's just going to overcome that. He is, whether if it's we're pounding the rock more, he's making plays with his legs. He's getting under guys. He's like lighting fire under their asses. Like, come on, we got to, this is the playoffs. This is make or break. I think he has set a standard to all of these players that, look, when you're chief, we contend for Super Bowls. And I think the fact that we've been able to set that precedent over these past 5 years is, it speaks volumes. It really does. And look, I understand you want to look at seasons, but you also have to look at resume. I feel like everyone wants to kind of poo-poo his resume, kind of like that Brady effect now. Like, oh yeah, we get about this season. I understand that, but at some point, and look, the same thing happened with Brady. Like I said, guy won 7 Super Bowls, but every season, like if he was just slightly off, you're just like, oh yeah, he can be God this season, and then he beats you and wins another freaking Super Bowl. So, unfortunately, I've been victim of that. So I understand now, having Patrick as my quarterback and having the Chiefs having had the success that they've had over these past 4 or 5 seasons. I understand now. Now, I'm not comparing 2 Super Bowls to 6 with the Chiefs and then with the entire run that the Patriots had, winning those 6 rings. But I'm getting a glimpse of what that success is and what it can be. And I'm spoiled. Look, I'm spoiled as a fan. It's great. The fact that I can even say that is great, right? But it also comes with stuff like this where people are just like, oh no, Buffalo looks good. In Buffalo, they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Blah blah blah. Like, shut up. It's Patrick freaking Mahomes. Are you kidding me? Like, the fact that people are convinced that the Bills will win this game, and not even give the Chiefs like a fighting chance. I'm like, really? And I can already hear the excuses if the Chiefs do win. Oh well, they had guys out on defense. I'm like, okay, that happens. It's football. You can't. You're so confident that the Bills are going to win, but you're already building excuses for them if they lose. Nah, man. No. The Chiefs, I'm not saying they will. If they win a Super Bowl this season, this without question will be the most impressive ring that Mahomes has won, that the Chiefs have won, that Andy Reid has won. With all of the adversity we went through this season, specifically with the wide receiving core, with our tackles, you cannot tell me, not even just with Pat, but just one of the more impressive rings that have been won in general, I think, over the past 10 years, maybe. So, anyways, I don't want to get ahead of my skis here. We still got Buffalo to play. We still got a game to play this Sunday. I want to pick the Bills. Like, nah. You thought no. Come on. Oh man. If I got your neck, that's hilarious. I'm gonna pick the Chiefs here to win this game. Shocker. I know, right? We're gonna be able to put up points. I think, and look, against a Miami team that was depleted a little bit on defense, I understand that. We were still able to put up points, though. We could have put up more. We should have put up more, and I think that we're going to have more of an emphasis on this red zone offense. I mean, all those trips to the red zone, we took 4 field goals, 2 touchdowns. I mean, 2 more of those field goals easily could have been, and they should have been touchdowns. So I think the team made an emphasis on that this week in practice. Like, look, we gotta get our red zone offense together. We got to put up 7 instead of 3. So I think because they look against Buffalo, we have to put up touchdowns. We cannot give them any room to think that they can come back in this game or make this a game or that they're going to be able to win because we can't put points up on the board. I don't think that's going to happen. I think with the surgence of Rashee Rice, 8 receptions, 130 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, yeah, man, we'll take that all day. I think he's becoming more of a threat. he'll gain a little bit more attention. Obviously, Travis is always going to gain attention, and that's going to free up a few more guys. We'll see with Justin Watson what happens with them. I don't know. I think Kadarius Toney is going to be playing in this game. Just catch the ball, bro. Just catch the ball. Pacheco, he's going to have a good game. I think McKinnon's going to be playing because he was on IR, and I think last week was the last game of those 4 weeks on IR, so I think he'll be back. So yeah, and look, on the defensive side, I haven't even touched the defense. We're hitting on all cylinders right now, baby. I mean, come on. Like we held the most explosive offense to 7 points last week. I think we're going to hold Buffalo to under 20 points without question. And so, all that being said, I'm going to pick Kansas City to win this game here. And I think it's going to be not too high scoring. I think it'll kind of be in the middle. I think we're going to be able to put some points on the board here. And I want to pick us to win this game here 27-24. All right, everyone. Well, that's all I have for you all today. This is going to be a wild weekend. I can't wait to watch it. Again, I think all of these games are going to be bangers. I really do. I don't see any team getting blown out. I see all of these games potentially going all the way down to the fourth quarter. I really do. With that being said, go Chiefs, man. Let's keep this going. Patrick Mahomes 5-0 in the divisional round. Let's make it 6-0, baby. Come on, let's get it. Yeah, I'm pumped up. I'm fired up for this game. And also, I love that this is like my new favorite crew neck. Fran got it for me for Christmas. It's Abercrombie. It's like this oversized crew neck. It's like from their NFL collection. Super dope. Abercrombie's not a sponsor of this channel, but if you want to be, I mean, you know what to do. Anyways, I will catch you all next time. Hopefully, I'm in a good mood. If we win this game, I have no doubt. I feel. Let's go Chiefs. Feel good. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna shut up now. I'll see you all next week. Peace.